The movie is set in a dystopian world where people drink a rosy red-colored liquid instead of water. Not only is it a necessity but also a compulsion, as those who refuse to drink the liquid are apprehended and jailed as criminals. The liquid is free for everyone in this world, and all the people drink it with pleasure. In fact, the liquid has changed the world into a better place. There's no longer violence, crime, or sadness. Everyone is happy and enthusiastic all the time. At the start of the movie, a man named Loke is seen running through an isolated tunnel. He appears to be scared and fleeing from someone. Suddenly, he comes across a table where many cups containing the red liquid are present. Loke picks one of them up and proceeds to drink it. But just then, a strange lady appears out of nowhere and shouts at him. As a result, Loke drops the glass, and it shatters to pieces. In the next scene, Loke wakes up at home in a cold sweat. It turns out that everything was only his nightmare. He heads to the kitchen and greets his wife, Kim, who is expecting a child. Shortly after, Kim fills 2 glasses with the same liquid and brings them to the dining table where her husband is waiting. The two then drink it with the utmost respect, as if they're reciting the national anthem. Once breakfast is done, Loke gets ready for work and leaves. On the way downstairs, he runs into his neighbor's little girl, and they greet each other happily. Shortly after, he bumps into his plumber, who also happens to be very cheerful. The two chat for a while and then depart. On the way to the office, Loke listens to the weather forecast on his earphones and smiles gently, as it's another day full of energy. He works for a large finance company that is very popular in the city. Moreover, Loke is an excellent employee, as every day he's praised by his boss for his hard work and sincerity. Before lunch, all the employees line up and drink the rose water together. They put their hands on their chests and drink the strange liquid with pride. Later in the evening, as everyone is finishing up their work, a terrified lady suddenly appears on Loke's computer. The lady warns Loke not to drink the rose water as it's a drug used to alter the nervous system. Slowly, the government is trying to control the people and make them their slaves. Before ending the transmission, the lady gives her coordinates and mentions that if anyone wants to escape this world, they should find her. Taken aback, Loke asks his colleagues if they too received the message, but none of them respond. Just then, the office time is up, and everyone leaves. A confused Loke pulls up the video again, but this time the same lady has become very different, and she is promoting the virtues of the rose water. As Loke continues to stare at the screen in disbelief, a warning sign suddenly pops up, and soon his boss confronts him from behind. It turns out that working overtime in this world is illegal. Hence, Loke is forced to leave. On his way home, Loke continuously thinks of the strange lady. He uses the coordinates given earlier by the lady, but when he reaches halfway, his phone tells him that the coordinates have disappeared. Still, Loke walks along a nearby tunnel and sees some policemen escorting a couple out. One of the officers tells Loke that the tunnel has collapsed, so he should return. The officers then feed the couple with rose water and depart. Later at home, Kim hands Loke a glass of the rose water as usual. But this time he doesn't drink it. Instead, he pours it down the sink. At night, Loke once again has a nightmare. He's running around in a dark and desolate forest. A lady from the sky keeps calling him, and he wakes up scared. There is blood on the bedsheets, and the pictures on the walls are crooked and twisted. Moreover, the finely decorated house has also become rough and dirty. A panicked Loke quickly goes to his wife, but surprisingly, even she has changed. The always charming and happy Kim has become angry and vengeful. She scolds him for getting up late and prepares a very unpleasant breakfast for him, something he cannot eat. Loke asks her about the breakfast, but an impatient Kim hands him his belongings and throws him out of the house. When he descends the stairs, he encounters the neighbor's girl, but unlike previous times, she is cold and impolite. Then he meets the plumber, who is also very rude to him. All these strange occurrences deeply scare Loke, and he begins to wonder what he did wrong. Upon reaching his workplace, he notices all his colleagues in a miserable state, trashing their office. Loke is scolded by the boss for arriving late. Moreover, the terrified old man immediately suspects Loke of not drinking the rose water. As a boss, he doesn't care about the company's profit and loss. What he cares about most is whether the company's employees are drinking the rose water or not. The two quarrel for a while, but Loke leaves the place without drinking the rose water as ordered by his boss. In the next scene, when Loke prepares to leave for home, 2 policemen suddenly start chasing him. It turns out that the boss called the cops on Loke. Terrified of being apprehended, Loke runs away and joins a queue of people ready to drink the strange water. He also picks up a glass and pretends to drink it so that the cops don't notice him. After the danger is averted, Loke calls his wife, but she doesn't answer. Later, he arrives home and knocks on the door several times, but once again, there's no answer. Enraged, he uses the emergency security code on the door and enters. However, what he sees inside shocks him. His once clean and tidy house is now in a dilapidated state, with garbage strewn about. Just then, he hears someone laughing and moaning in the washroom. Upon checking, he discovers the plumber being intimate with his wife. Enraged, Loke picks up a knife and repeatedly stabs the plumber to death. But as soon as he commits the murder, he becomes distraught and starts crying. Left with no options, he picks up a glass of rose water kept nearby and drinks it in one gulp. Lo and behold, the world around him changes, and everything that was grim and dark becomes normal. Now, as Loke is smiling, the washroom door opens, and his fully dressed wife and the plumber come out. They were simply fixing the toilet. Moreover, Kim is cheerful and happy. As soon as the plumber leaves, she hugs her husband, and the two share an emotional moment. Finally, Loke is relieved. Everything seems like a dream to him. But when he sees the advertisement on the television, a sharp pain shoots through his head. Loke has flashbacks of everything he went through that day. When he snaps out of it, a worried Kim is standing beside him with a glass of rosewater. However, even this time, a confused Loke knocks the glass from her hand, refusing to drink the water. He also shouts at his wife to stop drinking the water, but she appears unfazed. As he attempts to persuade his wife to stop, he experiences another sharp headache and collapses to the ground. In the blink of an eye, the entire house transforms into a grim place. Again, Loke forcefully tries to prevent Kim from drinking the water, but she instead wrestles him to the ground and calls the police. She even grabs a knife and attempts to stab him to death. Fortunately, Loke manages to escape from the house and locks the door. Believing that the tunnel is where he can meet the strange lady from before, Loke rushes there. Along the way, he encounters several people who have become resentful and angry. Suddenly, two policemen spot him and give chase. Yet, Loke manages to outpace them and hides in a corner. From there, he witnesses the policeman dragging another man and forcibly feeding him the rose water. It seems as if the man also received the message from the strange lady, but sadly, he's apprehended. Seizing the opportunity, Loke seizes a chance to flee. On the way, he receives a call from his wife, who sweetly asks him to return home. But Loke knows it's a deception, so he tells her he's never coming back. Just then, the policemen arrive, but just before they can apprehend Loke, he hurls his phone and escapes. Seconds later, he finally emerges from the tunnel. He enters the same forest he saw in his dream, a place that's dark and strange. Loke continues walking for a while, but ultimately collapses due to exhaustion. When he awakens, the same strange woman from before approaches him and congratulates him for escaping the fantasy world. She then offers him a glass of normal water and encourages him to drink it. This is the first time Loke has encountered normal water, so he's skeptical about whether he should drink it or not. The movie concludes as Loke holds the cup and stares intently into the lady's eyes.